looking forward to it. We also have with us today Rafael Esparge. I think everyone's favorite conscience are bleeding.
Oh my God!
Where can I be? Okay, that suddenly got a lot loud. Somebody must be messing with my volume. There we go. We also today have David Gator with us. He is the lead writer on the Dragon Age series. I would imagine there's a few Dragon Age fans here as well. All right, well, I want to leave plenty of time for your questions, but I do want to get things started just with a few things. I want to see some from the audience. Who has finished every single Mass Effect game? Who has finished every single DLC?
I don't have that Leviathan yet.
Who has gotten 100% of all achievements on every single game and every single DLC? Come on, stand up. I want to see those guys.
Damn it.
Stand up. Do we happen to have some Mass Effect costumers here today? Let's see you. Stand up, guys. Very nice.
Excellent Morden, excellent Rexmo.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I just got told how to not mess up the microphone. I appreciate that. Let's start off with some questions. I guess I'll just throw it to everybody here. From all of your lines, from all of them, let's keep it to the Mass Effect games. What is your absolute favorite?
I should go.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, hello. Ah, good. Hello. My favorite line. Shepard. I understand.
And give us one kind of behind-the-scenes look into the process of recording the voice lines. And David, you can help here as well. Something interesting that happened in the process of actually recording all of these lines.
I remember when we were doing the DLC at the Citadel, and I remember all of us kind of really having a sense of that we were really at the end, and how powerful that was. And I just remember how all of us, we cried. We cried. They cried in Edmonton, and then we cried in Los Angeles. It was a group cry. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I remember. One thing.
Caroline being very choked up that day.
Yeah, she was.
That's great.
That's our director, Caroline Livingstone. Yes, yeah, that's right. Someone came in Caroline Livingstone cosplay. It was great. A moment, behind-the-scenes moment. Let's see. This was actually before Citadel. This was just when the main game itself came out. I was down in Los Angeles and did a few of my final recording bits there. Not final, but final for the release of the game. And I got to sit in on Martin Sheen's session, and actually so did Genevieve. Yes, it was fantastic. He was a great guy, very, very friendly, very talkative and chatty. We had a great time talking to him. So Jennifer and I were both sitting outside with the engineers, and while Martin was in the booth, and we were looking through the glass, and he was doing one of the Illusive Man's final speeches, and in fact, the Illusive Man's death scene. And of course, it's a very powerful and dramatic moment, and he's doing his reading. And he can see all of us through the glass, and at one point, he just sort of stops in his reading, and He looks out through the glass, touches it, and goes, "The horror." And I thought it was great. Not only did he quote Apocalypse Now, but it wasn't even his line, it was Brandon's.
David?
From an outsider perspective, I think my favorite moment was being present for Seth Green recording maybe two, where Joker is by himself on the ship, and his lines are basically, and I quote,
Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
shit. And more along and of course, Seth just sort of, there's his reaction when he read it's like, these are the lines? Caroline, she's like, just go with it. Come on, let's see how it works out.
Who wrote this shit?
So, Caroline, do you want shit, or should it just be shit?
And one more. So after I finish my last question here, we're going to have everyone who has a question start lining up right here at the black tape. Probably keep it, I mean, we're not going to let it go all the way back, but keep about 10, 15 people in line at a time. Make sure your questions are relevant, and as mentioned before, appropriate. It is 11:30 in the morning, not 11:30 at night. Although, I'm sure, how many here in your playthroughs have romanced Arcade in here? And
Maybe the after-hours session that we have.
So with everything that has come with being a voice actor on Mass Effect, with getting known for that, with writing these lines, what's been your favorite interaction personally with a fan?
Favorite interaction with a fan?
With a fan who's played in Mass Effect. You know you for that.
Right. Well, you know, one of the very first times that I saw someone dressed as Commander Shepard, it was here at DragonCon. And yes, and that's the thing. Like, that's when you know it's like, wow, I'm really part of something big here. When you see someone who's gone to the trouble of making their own excellent costume of a character that you play. And actually, oddly enough, the person that I ran into was Harrison Cricks of Volpin Props. And so Harrison was dressed as Commander Shepard, and that year at DragonCon, I happened to be dressed as Sinestro Press Corps Hunter S. Thompson. So it was basically Hunter S. Thompson wearing a Sinestro Corps uniform. So I introduced myself and complimented him on the fine quality of his costume and weapons. We posed for a picture, and we realized that it's like, well, I'm dressed as a reporter, so he should probably punch me out in the picture. I believe that photo is still online.
Favorite interaction, I guess, kind of happened maybe online, which was just with the request to read the letter from 2. Which was not recorded for 2, and I think a lot of people got kind of pissed at Caden. And a lot of people had told me, or stopped and said, I feel better about him, but the letter, in recording it, generated an extraordinary response. I slipped it out before Thanksgiving, thinking, well, this is going on the radar. And, I hadn't really asked BioWare's permission. Is it okay to record this? And, well, within a few hours, BioWare had actually retweeted it, and it was out. It was incredible, the response, just sort of all over the world, who people wrote from everywhere. And it's really where you, sitting at home, suddenly get emails and tweets and postings from the world. It really gives you a sense of what this community is, how enormous this community is. And you were saying backstage how Mass Effect has been compared, maybe enthusiastically, but maybe not too far, considering how many people are even here today on a Sunday morning, with Star Wars. In other words, it is a sort of a, what did you say? Sort of a video games version of Star Wars in terms of how it has hit the audience and how passionate the people are about it, and even now after the fact, even now after the game has come and now gone, how passionate folks really still remain.
Well, I know in the parade yesterday morning, Dragon Con Parade, there was only one group larger than the Mass Effect costuming group, and it was Star Wars.
Next year.
Very nice. Okay, well, I've got some more questions, but I'm sure you guys have got those just burning in your minds. Come on and line up right here at the black tape. Just make the line straight back. Come on, guys. Come on in. Do we have someone that's checking questions I said beforehand? I trust you guys. I love you guys. I love these guys. So keep them fairly short. We're not looking for expositions. We're looking for questions. And have at it.
Hi, I'm a huge fan, by the way. Thank you for making so many great memories in my life. My question is, what was it like being a part of this game that slowly evolved into being one of the greatest games ever made?
It was a tremendous honor, and in some ways a little humbling, because, as I said, the first time that I saw someone in a Commander Shepard uniform, that's when it started to hit home. And things like seeing the action figures, and I collect action figures, so having the Mass Effect action figures on my shelf is a very big deal to me.
He's a big collector of action.
I have a basement and a very patient and understanding wife, so she has allowed me to fill our basement with toys. So yeah, it was just an incredible experience, certainly. And speaking as someone who went to cons as a fan for many years. Seeing the Mass Effect fandom just develop and grow has been exhilarating, really.
Hi, I'm in a master's program right now for speech-language pathology, and I'm very interested in voice disorders. So as professional voice users, have you consulted anyone on like a vocal hygiene program, dialect coaching, or Mr. Muir, especially the Vorcha, sound very vocally abusive. How do you...
Just misunderstood.
So how do you protect your career blowing out your vocal folds every day?
Well, now, speaking for myself, I mostly come from a theater and improv background. So, of course, before you do a voice section, you should do a vocal warm-up, just for the sake. Otherwise, you're wasting time because you're having to warm up in the booth. And so that's just the standard theatrical things, and you've probably seen them. And they're things that make an actor look ridiculous when they're warming up alone in a room, like pop, 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 red leather, yellow leather, that kind of thing. And just warming up your cords. And of course, warm water is good, like hot water is a nice thing to have, or lemon ginger tea or things like that while you're in the recording process. Yeah, you mentioned the Vorcha and what technique I used. The technique we used was saving any Vorcha recording until the very end of the day's session. And yeah, I'd like to say, yes, I have a technique that protects my vocal cord. No, I just scream and screech in the very end.
And then he has a cigarette.
And then I have a cigarette. Yeah. So yeah, there's no specific technique to the Vorcha. Beyond doing this.
It's good to have a field director who was kind to the actors as well.
Yes, yeah, and again, Caroline was the one who was like, we're gonna save all of that stuff till the end of the day, and even like any Shepard exertion palettes or yelling, that kind of stuff would be saved for the end of the day.
Exertion palette that's all the
the
sounds.
Yeah.
Typically we'll leave that till the end and then send them home.
So those are fun because there's always things, like, and you do it for pretty much any game you do these days. It's like the exertion palette. Okay, you're hitting someone. You're hitting someone harder. You're hitting someone really hard. You're being hit. You're being hit harder. Okay, now you're being hit with a stick that's on fire. Okay, now the fiery stick is electrocutes you when it hits. Yeah, so that kind of thing.
You know what the funniest thing is? Passing by the people doing the audio mixing, and they're mixing the exertion palette, and you stop, you think it's like, is someone having a lot of sex in there?
Very strenuous.
now the sex has caught on fire.